Good morning. Sue Smith sitting in for Elias Makos. And it's graduation season, and students all over the city are, throwing up their caps and thanking their teachers and their parents. But one engineering student at Polytechnique Montreal is also thanking his best friend. Her name is Kopek. She's a Labrador Bernese Cross. And Victor Ball will become the first student ever at Polytechnique to graduate while using a service dog. Jacqueline Wallace is the Vice President of External Relations and International Affairs with Polytechnique Montreal, and she joins me on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's really a pleasure. I just love this story. What can you tell us about Victor Ball?
Well, Victor is he's honestly a champion for accessibility at Polytechnique Montreal. He's an incredibly hardworking student. He is graduating this afternoon with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering.
Wow.
It's quite the accomplishment. And he's certainly become a part of our community, both obviously Victor and his Mira dog, Kopek.
Uh-huh. So can you tell me how all this first came up? How did this start?
So, like many students, Victor applied to be admitted at Polytechnique, which is a rigorous process. We're a mono-faculty engineering university. He always had an interest in science and engineering, from what he tells us. So, was admitted, and from the get-go, his service dog was part of the equation, and so. We offer student services for students with different needs, disabilities, to ensure that we can make our campus as accessible as possible. And Victor's certainly the first. He's a real pioneer in terms of coming through our doors with a service dog, and so we had to learn alongside him in terms of adapting our processes and making sure we were able to give him the most support possible.
So, Victor's on the spectrum, I understand. So, how does he use Kopek? Well, what does she do for him that is helpful to him in getting his degree?
So Victor often describes her as his partner, his best friend, his ally. But she is indeed a service dog. So she provides him with stability, with routine, with comfort. Also helps him navigate. Sometimes we have noise or there are sensory issues. So she's really there to support his education. She's in the classroom with him at all times. And sometimes they sit on the floor because that's what Victor's most comfortable doing. And obviously, Kopek is right alongside him to make sure that he can adapt and learn in the best way possible that suits his way of learning.
Mm-hmm. So while Victor's learning engineering and Kopek is helping him, Polytechnique is learning how to help students adapt. So what was that learning process for the school? What did you guys have to do to accommodate both Kopek and Victor?
So we obviously needed to make sure that he was supported within our student services department. And so there we have advisors for students with disabilities, with learning differences. So he's been accompanied the whole way to make sure that we understood his needs and that we were able to adapt the classroom environment. Obviously work with our professors too, because honestly, they've also, been a very big support of Victor and his education and adapting their teaching style, making sure that the classroom was accommodating to him. And so our services, include everything from note-taking to support and accessibility, physical accessibility in our buildings. And so for Victor, he was able to be very much clear on what his limitations were and where he needed support. And so that's where, our team really comes in to ensure that he has that support that's needed and that, we make it as part of our community. So it's not necessarily abnormal, but in fact, we welcome the fact that he perhaps needs to navigate things a little bit differently and needs some more support, just like we would welcome that with any other student.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that can be challenging. I know from speaking over the years to so many teachers how difficult it can be if you have one student or more than one that has needs and you're trying to teach the rest of the students. Of course, I'm talking about mostly the public system. So how did professors react? Because it sounded like individual professors did have to adapt as well.
Yeah, so that's very true. I mean, no environment is perfect, and universities still have a long way to go, and we do too in terms of incorporating accessibility and adapting our environments. But honestly, he was able to build rapport with his professors, and we do make accommodations and train our professors along what that means to make accommodations in the classroom. But Victor was actually telling me that often the profs would come up with ideas and propose things to him and suggest things, would this work, would that work? And so that rapport and relationship that he's had with the profs has been terrific. But yes, indeed, we do, work directly with all of his professors to make sure that they understand what it means to adapt things in the classroom. And honestly, his peers also, play a part. And what might have seemed a little bit odd at the beginning really just became part of the norm for our students. And Victor's, kind of well known on the campus and has helped us all evolve our understanding of what it is to be on the spectrum and what it is to study and have a service dog alongside you all day long.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe this is too simplistic a way of looking at it, but I can imagine that, for other students, it's kind of nice to have a dog around. I mean, we hear all the time studies about how, being around animals makes people feel better overall.
Absolutely. I think there's such a warm welcome for Kopek.
I bet.
And it does bring, kind of the same sense of comfort to the other students. They do know he's a working dog, and
of course,
only when his harness is off is when he's off duty. When she's off duty. However, it is really, it's wonderful that Kopek is on our campus and that the other students are able to be, kind of engaged and comforted and see that that's just part of normal life at our university.
So Victor is the first. He's graduating, you said, today, which is amazing. So what does this mean going forward for students that might need some adaptability from Polytechnique?
What it means is that, we are committed. It's certainly part of our values of inclusivity, accessibility, belonging. Our doors are open for other students that might have profiles like Victor. We're absolutely there to support and accommodate. We want to, and we do train engineers for not only today's challenges, but for tomorrow. And a lot of times those challenges are not linear and simplistic. They're complex and they involve a social aspect or perhaps, how the things work in an urban environment. And so, it's important that for the future, we can really support other students with different needs and make sure that they can come through our doors and be successful. And we're absolutely there for that, and we welcome them.
Jacqueline, it's a great story. Thanks so much for telling us about it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.